The last two videos I did, I showed you some wildly expensive guns. And you guys love to look at rare guns, but you also get a little discouraged because you say, I can't really afford it. Today, I'm going to show you some very affordable collectible guns. So let's get her done. So the gun I wanted to talk about today is the FN Model 1922. All of these came from one collector, and these were his duplicates. He has a lot more. There's a lot more variations. In fact, if you wanted to specialize in something like this, first of all, you need to start off with a book so you know what you're getting. And you can see all the different variations as I page through this. Yeah, the whole book is almost 1,000 pages, but you can see they have a Mexican contract, they have a Finland contract, they got a Turkish contract, we got a Dutch contract, we got Yugoslavia, Serbian, on and on it goes. So you can see just by specializing in one gun, such as this, pretty common gun, FN Browning 1922, you can really focus in on just collecting this gun, and it's a lot cheaper than starting with rare Colts or Lugers or even Walders. So for example, pretty much every gun on this table is in the $500 to $1,000 range. Let's take a look at some of these, and I'll do a little bit of history because that's what Forgotten Weapons would do. First, this is the FN Browning Model 1900. I just happen to have one on the shelf, so I thought I'd grab it. You can see it has the similar black grip. Different logo. They have the FN logo right here. FN logo is a little bigger. So this is the Model 1900. It's an awkward, odd-looking gun, but not for the time. If you think about 1900, what was available in 1900? Well, they did just start making Lugers. They also had the Borchardt, which is a lot more awkward than this. And then, of course, there's the broom handle. So for its time, it was a compact, cool little gun. It does work with a magazine, and a lot of the ones at the time did not. And so they made these all the way up to World War I. So they were looking for a sleeker, more innovative model, and they came up with the 1910. I actually don't have one in the shop right now. We have sold them in the past, but you can see it's a sleek design. It comes in both 9mm short as well as 7.65. Going back to the 1900, it's 7.65. So, the 1910. This was a very successful model. It started with the Serbs, the Croats, the Yugoslavians. A lot of countries were looking for pistols for their military and for their police. They liked this design, but the feedback that they gave to the Browning factory was that they needed a little more accuracy. They said it was not very accurate, and therefore they wanted a longer barrel. And they said, while you're at it, we could use 1 or 2 extra rounds. So Browning went back to the drawing board, and if I had a 1910 here, you would see it 1910 ends right about there. And then the frame was extended just a little bit, so it added an extra round. So basically, without retooling the whole factory, it's a pretty cool story when I read it. They said, oh, well, they want a longer barrel, so it's more accurate. They want an extra round. What the heck? Let's not retool. So they lengthen this just a little bit, and they lengthen this just a little bit. They even have a button here where you can push that and twist it. That comes right off. So it's a simple improvement, but the 1922 FN Browning was a highly successful model. And again, it sold to militaries and police forces throughout the world. We could go through the same litanies of countries that ordered these before World War II. So if we're collecting these, and again, all of these are between $500 and $1,000, depending on rarity. This first one I have at top, you can see the logo here. There are the Belgian proof marks, but this has Greek letters right here. Also has a number. Looks like more than 6,000, 6,100 went to Greece. I'm not sure how many. I could look it up in the book. This is 9mm, by the way, which they wanted to make sure. Here we go. You can see the comparison, 7.65 and 9mm. They like the 9mm for the armies, a little more powerful. But when the Germans came in, they preferred the 7.65. So countries varied. But this is Greek. So this is a rare Greek contract. It's kind of cool. And again, this is a guy who just wanted to collect different models. He still has a lot more that hopefully will be coming to us soon. This is a Greek contract, and I mentioned 9mm. This one is a Serbian contract. They do talk about that in the book. Similar in design, similar wear. And the only difference is Serbian writing here. So this is a Serbian contract pre-World War II. This one is pretty interesting. Notice so far every one of them has had black grips, but interestingly, when you go to gun shows in the US, most of the ones you find are going to have these brown wooden grips, and that's because they were made during the Nazi era. And that was the Germans' way of getting around production shortages. So the black grips were used a lot less. These were used a lot more, but it was only for a period of time. Pre-war and post-war, Belgium preferred these black plastic grips. Now, back to this one. This one was made before the war. They put the lanyard on it, so I assume it was going to the police. That's a police lanyard. But when the Germans took over, this is 9mm, says so here, and you can see it here. This is 9mm. It was made in Belgium, probably for the commercial market or for export. But when the Germans came in, they put it together and they stamped it right here early on. So this is 1940. And the proof stamp is Waffen 613. That is the first Waffen stamp for the Belgian factory. And that was just basically a German inspector came in and approved them. And by the way, if you know your Browning high powers, much more expensive, more accurate, higher capacity, much more popular, but much more expensive. The Browning high power was also very, very popular in World War II. You're going to spend more money if you collect these. But if you collect them, you also know that the 613 was the first that were made for the German army. So 613, 9mm, a fairly rare gun. This is also pre-war and a little more available. I see more of these. First time I ever saw a Serbian or a Greek gun was when I bought this collection. But I have had these before. This is the Queen Wilhelmina, which is the Danish queen, and so they ordered it for their police department. See, they have room here for the lanyard, but it was plugged. Here there's room for the lanyard, it's not plugged. So there was room for the lanyard, whether or not it was there and removed, I'm not sure. Here there's room for the lanyard. Here you have the lanyard. Here you have a different style lanyard. So all different variations. Queen Wilhelmina, and this went to the Danish police. But we were on the Nazi era. Here is the next variation. Instead of 613, this is 103, Waffen or Waffen 103. That was next. In fact, let me go over production. The 613 variation was made from November of 1940 to April of 41. Then there was the 103. The 103 proof mark, again with the high power, but also the 1922, went from May of 41 to December of 41. And then from December of 41 all the way to the end of the war, it would be Waffen 140. This one, you can see Waffen 140. And the same is true of the high power. I happen to have two very similar conditions. These are both 103s, 103 and 103. And all of the 103, by the way, again, they were only made for a short period of time, but the 103 proof mark, all of them were 7.65. The German army preferred 7.65 for their small caliber weapons. Just think about it. You've got the Mauser HSC, you've got the CZ-27, of course the PP, the PPK, the Sauer, all of those were 7.65. So when the Germans took over, they pretty much moved the manufacturing away from the 9mm over to 7.63. Okay, now let's talk about the bread and butter German pistol. This is 140 proof. Most of them were, again, 1941 all the way to 1944 until the factory was liberated. This is what you see in the United States because the GIs brought these home. These were captured during the war. GIs brought them home. Most of these went to the Luftwaffe, which is another good reason to collect them. Again, between $500 and $900 probably went to the Luftwaffe. Many of them come with what they call a dropping holster. They get that name somehow from the design. I always thought it's because it's easy to drop, but no, I'm sure that's not the reason. It has something to do with this design, and this moves up and down. And what you want to look for is that is a Luftwaffe. So it's an Eagle L2 proof, which means it went to the Luftwaffe, and this one is dated 1943. So this gun comes with this holster, went to the Luftwaffe. It doesn't mean a pilot, but it could have been. Popular because it's a small, compact, easy to use, inexpensive gun. You wouldn't, a pilot wouldn't carry a Browning high power, but they would carry one of these or a Femeru. Those are known to have gone to the Luftwaffe. So I think it's a very affordable gun. If you want to collect German or World War II pistols, this is a good place to start. A lot less expensive than some of the guns that I've shown you previously. And as I said, most of the ones you see is not because these are more plentiful, but that's because these are the ones the GIs brought home. The GIs often did not bring home these other guns because they went to other countries. We didn't invade Greece and take their pistols, nor a lot of the other countries. Turkey had a contract, Finland had a contract. So these went out to different countries. The ones that we brought home and the ones that you typically see look like this. Now I wanted to show you one other dropping holster because this one we looked at and the marking was on the back. Here's one other design. You'll see it this color. I see a lot of these, and when I open it up, it says for the Browning pistol caliber 7.65. There you see the same Eagle L2 proof right here. Very similar to this proof mark here. So this is a Luftwaffe proof. This happens to have the classic black grip, but 140 and a nice holster from the Luftwaffe. The last one I wanted to show you is actually the most expensive one on this table, which when I bought it, I thought, I don't know if I want to pay extra for this one, but he twisted my arm and I decided to go ahead and buy this one. So this one is just a little bit over $1,000, but it's really rare because it's right at the end of the war. If you watch my videos, you know that at the end of the war, they would pick up PPs from the factory, had no logo, has no proof marks, has no stamps of any kind, no markings at all, and no serial number. There's no serial number on this gun. Typically, the serial number would be in the ejection port and on the frame. Serial number here, serial number here, and here. On this one, no markings at all, including no serial number here, no serial number here, no serial number. There's no serial number, so it's unmarked. It is 7.65, and the only explanation could be at the end of the war, one of the workers took it and kept it, or whoever came into the factory first, they were just grabbing guns, throwing them together. These were not even completed, not inspected, and so this was picked up from the factory at the end of the war and came back here to the United States. So it is a very rare gun, highly desirable to people out there who like to collect end-of-the-war abnormal or unusual pistols, such as this one. So there you have it, affordable World War II pistols, and you can see there's a lot of variations that you can collect without breaking the bank, at least for many of us. Our wives would disagree, but I think they're a really good investment. Cool guns, and you can pick them up for a fraction of what you would pay for the more expensive collectibles. Make sure you like and subscribe to our channel and stay tuned because as soon as I get back from Vegas, I'm going to have more guns to show you.